you brought up budget. Let me just bring this up because
is this Why Sports Are Great by Mike Valenti?
no, it's why sports.
Do we have a sound music? Do we have a music?
Go ahead. Why Sports Are Terrible by Mike Valenti. Go ahead. Hi guys, Mike Valenti here on Why Sports Suck.
Thanks for tuning in, by the way, everybody.
No, I mean, thanks
hope
for
you're
tuning
having a
in.
fantastic
I
Monday.
hope you're having a great Monday.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you why 2015, we're screwed. The St. Louis Rams, not the Detroit Tigers, who obviously are never going to leave Detroit. And Detroit is half the city's dilapidated. Okay? The St. Louis Rams, Stan Kroenke, the owner, worth $6 billion. $6 billion.
That's billion with a B?
B. Stan Kroenke said, yeah, you know what? Give me a stadium or I'm taking the team. The Rams don't sell tickets. St. Louis is not a great NFL market.
Nice area.
Thank you. They're disposable. So you know what Stan Kroenke did? Here's what we're going to do. The stadium committee is going to sue the city for an ordinance about, God forbid, the public would have to vote on public dollars going towards stadium. Stan Kroenke said, no. I don't want to vote nothing. I want my dollars, and I want them now. The new stadium is going to cost $1 billion. That's what it'd be, $1 billion in St. Louis. A Missouri judge voted in favor of the St. Louis Rams, saying the ordinance was a little ambiguous, a little vague. So now Stan Kroenke, who's worth $6 billion, is going to get nearly $500 million, $500 million of public money without it ever so much as going to a vote.
Oh, come on.
Now, look, I've said this, and please kill this music. You're killing me. I'm making a point to you. You go out, okay? In recent weeks, we had the Milwaukee Bucks story.
Yeah.
We've had the story about the Red Wings' new arena. Okay, we've had the story about the Florida Panthers and how they're trying to screw Broward County. We've had all these different stories.
Did you see the John Oliver piece a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the air.
Yeah.
Look, I've said it all along the way. The only reason I feel like it's different, look at the city we're in. I don't think there's any city in America like this. And you look at the land that the stadium's going to go on. If you don't put the stadium there, what the hell's going to be there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not like the Red Wings are leaving town.
Right.
It's you do it. Now, I'm not thrilled that there's public dollars going towards it, but I'm trying to wrap my mind around it because they have the tax thing. The land's worth 50 cents without it. You put the stadium there, you skim the tax, you do your business.
Right.
I'm not in love with it, but I also know we're not selling kids' school books. When you talk about a place like St. Louis, whose football team is completely disposable.
I think they're going to L.A. Weren't they going to L.A.?
Point. But that's the point.
He's using L.A. as basically a tool, a hostage to hold the city hostage.
To get $500 million.
Right.
The whole point I make is you see these stories and they're a dime a dozen. Washington, D.C. is going through the same thing about this soccer stadium, and politicians are being all coy about it. Look, just once I'd like to see a city go, you know what? Go.
I would too.
Because this is, and I know you get down on me and you're like, oh, Mike, why are you going to be so mean and negative? But this is what's wrong.
I don't think I've ever said that.
This is what's wrong with sports, is why in 2015, when most of our major municipalities have financial problems, can we be fair?
Yes.
How the hell are the people of St. Louis going to look at this and go, wait a second, forget us getting to vote. The people we put in office don't even get to vote. And this judge rules in favor of a guy who's got $6 billion. They're literally going to hand him $500 million to build a stadium that, frankly, the city of St. Louis has said we don't care to build because we don't support the team.